It seems that Razer has secretly changed the Viper Mini without telling anyone. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Time is but a window. Now this video is a little bit different than what I usually do. I was investigating a forum post on Reddit. Basically some pretty extreme changes to the Viper Mini. Now there are a few areas he said were changed. One is the switches, the other one is the texture and the shape of the mouse. He also says that the cable is more flexible and the scroll wheel is better. Now, as someone who does like the Viper Mini and has mained it on occasion, I was curious about these changes, so I went and picked one up. So as you can see, now I have 3 Viper Minis, one from 2020, one from 2021, and one from 2022. After using a firm and soft measuring tape, I found that all the dimensions were very similar. The one from 22 actually seemed about 1 millimeter larger, but that could just be an error due to the inaccuracies of measuring this way. And at the end of all that measuring, the shape changes were inconclusive. First, let's talk about the mouse cable. Now in the post, it was claimed that the cable felt less stiff, and as far as I can tell, this is absolutely true. It is noticeably softer and more flexible than the other 2 cables. Okay, so that is one change I can definitely agree with. Next we have the switches. Now supposedly Razer actually updated the switches on the Viper Mini back at the end of 2020. Now luckily I do have a Viper Mini from the beginning of 2020 to test this out on. And yes, on the 2022 model, the switches do feel better than on the 2020. But also the 2021 feels better than the 2020, and the 2022 feels better than the 2021. So is that just wear and tear? So again, this became very hard to test. So while the 2022s do feel better now, I wonder if they'll still feel better in a year's time. For this one, I'm going to have to mark inconclusive. Next up, does it have a scratchy ring around the sensor? That's this area right here, and both my model 2021 and 2022 both have scratchy rough rings around the sensor. Meanwhile, the 2020 is incredibly smooth. And I don't think it's just from wear and tear, because the 2021 is actually rougher than the 2022. Okay, so what about the scroll wheel? Was it updated like he had said? From my testing, I'm going to have to say yes, the 2022 has deeper notches than the 2021 and 2020 model. I did a blind test to test this, and the results were 100% accurate. Like every single time, even without looking at the mice, I knew exactly which scroll wheel I was scrolling. Next up, did it have a noticeably rougher texture? Now while it was hard to test on the 2020 model because I have side grips, I did not notice any rougher texture on the 2022 than the 2021 or 2020. In the blind test, I kept choosing the 2021, thinking that one had the roughest texture. Brings us back to the original reason I even purchased this mouse, the shape changes. Here is the picture he posted to show the differences in shape, but of course he didn't list which mouse was which. One of them, the one on top, clearly looks a little bit smaller, while the one on the bottom looks a little bit bigger. There are a couple issues with this, especially because since they are lying on top of each other, one of them has the buttons facing towards us while the other one has the buttons facing away from us, which is going to show a deviation in how it looks because both sides of the mouse aren't exactly identical. On top of that, the mice are not perfectly lined up. But having the mice in front of me, I still wasn't able to really pick out any shape differences. So I did a blind test between the 2021 and 2022. Obviously, the 2020 version has side grips, so that'd be very easy to distinguish. Exactly 50% of the time, I chose the wrong mouse, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And even when I did it for a long period of time, I really couldn't tell which mouse was which. I would just choose which one felt more comfortable, and half the time it was the 2022, and half the time it was the 2021. So if there are body changes, I sure can't notice them, but there are definitely quite a few other changes. The craziest thing about all of this is how Razer is updating the mice without telling anyone. I really don't think they should be doing this because that means you could be getting an inferior product without even knowing about it. Let's say they want to cut a few corners to lower the budget for themselves. In my opinion, this should be completely illegal and they should announce updated products, even if in this case what you're getting is mostly upgrades. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways guys, I hope you guys found this video informative, and as always, have a great day.